Today we're going to hear from Talia. Talia, at the time of publication in 2004, was 16 years old, which would make her about 36 years old today. I'm in the 11th grade at school. My best subject is Hebrew literature. I'm a good student. My friends take school seriously too. The thing I like doing the most is hanging out in coffee shops with my friends, but the war makes it difficult for us to do that. We can't go downtown or to a mall because we are afraid about what could happen. We could be sitting in a cafe, just talking normally, and we could be blown up in the middle of a conversation. My mother worries a lot. Bombs go off when nobody expects them to. I know a girl whose sister was killed when she was out buying books for school. She was only 16, the same age as I am now. This was a few years ago. Death can come for anyone, anywhere, anytime. It doesn't matter if you are ready for it or not. It isn't safe to be Jewish here, but it has never been safe to be Jewish anywhere. At least we can protect ourselves here because this is our country. I went to Poland recently with the Scouts. We spent 2 months studying before we went. We attended seminars, listened to speakers, and had activities and discussions. We learned which countries were involved in World War II, the issues involved, things like that, as well as learning about what happened to the Jews. We had already been on field trips to the Holocaust Memorial, Yad Vashem, but the purpose of the trip to Poland was to see for ourselves what happened to the Jews during the war. Many people here in Israel have relatives who were killed by the Nazis. Many of the older citizens of Israel have numbers tattooed on their arms, which shows they were in the concentration camps. This trip was to show us the places where these terrible things happened and to help us to understand ourselves and our people better. We traveled all over Poland. We went to Warsaw and saw where the Jewish ghetto used to be. Jews fought the Nazis there until the Nazis killed many of them and shipped the rest off to the concentration camps. We also went to Auschwitz. This was one of the places where Jews were sent to be killed. We saw the hair that had been cut from the Jews' head and the shoes that had been taken from their feet. We saw the gas chambers where they were killed. These were big shower rooms. Jews would be forced to go in there, many at a time, men, women, and children together, all naked, as though they were going to have a shower. Out of the shower heads came poison gas instead of water, and killed everyone in the room. We saw hairbrushes, hand mirrors, jewelry, eyeglasses, suitcase, books, menorahs, things that were special to their families. These things were all taken away from them as soon as they came into the camp. When you enter Auschwitz, you can imagine being a Jew 60 years ago, walking into the camp with police dogs barking and German soldiers hitting you with their rifles and everyone scared and crying. It was snowing when we were there. We were all dressed in layers of clothing and so were warm. When Jews were prisoners there, they had no warm clothes or boots or blankets, or enough food. Most of the camp is still there. The barracks where prisoners were crammed together, the guard towers, the other buildings. As I walked around, I tried to feel what they would have felt, but of course I couldn't. It was amazing to be walking around with the flag of Israel. The Nazis tried to exterminate us, but we survived, and now we have our own country and our own flag. We are here, but the Nazis are not. We did a short special ceremony at each place and sang the Israeli anthem. I like to think that the ghosts of the people who were murdered there could hear us singing and that it brought them some peace. We all went over there thinking we'd come back understanding everything, understanding how such a thing could have happened. But it's too big. I don't know if anybody can ever understand it. It does help to have been there, to be able to visualize the places and imagine a little clearer what those people went through. It shows that we have to take care of ourselves, that we have to be very serious about our security. The neighborhood I live in is full of memorials to people who have been killed by the Palestinians. There are little parks and benches dedicated to this person or that person who was killed. It's very weird when I think about it. You know these things happen, but you never think they'll happen close to you. It's complicated about the Palestinians. No one seems to have the right answer. It's hard for both sides to come together. It will be even harder soon because of the wall that's being built around the West Bank. The wall is going to keep the Palestinians out of Israel, so they can't bomb us. It's normal for me to see a lot of soldiers in the streets. My sister's husband comes from the United States, and he said it was hard for him to see so many people walking around with guns. That's a funny thing for him to say, since we learned in school that many more people are killed by guns in the United States than here. And there's a war going on here. He says we should never become used to seeing guns, but I'm used to it already. It would seem strange for me not to see them. Besides, the soldiers do an important job. Recently, a guard stopped a restaurant from being bombed. As soon as I finished school, I would go into the army. It's very important to do this even for girls. It's part of my duty of being an Israeli. I don't support people who don't do their duty just so they can go on with their lives without their lives being interrupted. I can understand people being against the war, but if that is how they feel, they can do national service instead. It's not possible for someone like me or my friends to go into Palestinian-controlled areas. It's too dangerous. I won't go to my own downtown. I certainly won't go into West Bank. I don't know any Palestinian or Arab kids. I don't know if Palestinian kids are like me or not. I don't know anything about them, even how they are living, although I know their living conditions are not good. I know that I am an Israeli citizen with equal rights to other Israeli citizens. The Palestinians aren't. They have their own government, but Israel is over everything. The Palestinians aren't allowed to do the things I'm allowed to do, like move around the country. We have gates around our school that are locked so no one can get in who isn't supposed to be there. There can't be any cars parked around the school. Often, when I walk past parked cars along the street, I wonder if one will blow up beside me. I know a lot of people who have been killed in the war. A girl from my dance school was killed when a bomb blew up the bus she was riding on. We took a folk dancing class together. I saw her a lot. After the bombing, we did a dance recital in a theater in Jerusalem and dedicated it to her. I know someone else, a man. He went into the bank, took out some money, walked away down the street, and the street blew up behind him. My brother's friend, a woman, wore a medallion around her neck from India. Shrapnel from a bomb hit the medallion instead of her, and she didn't get hurt. You never know when a bomb will explode. You could be in a bad mood or a good mood, in trouble or doing what you're supposed to do. It doesn't help to lead a good life. Well, it's important to lead a good life, but being good doesn't protect you from the bombs. The thing that frightens me the most is the thought that something bad could happen to anyone close to me or my family. The thing that makes me the happiest is when the whole family comes together. I have a brother who lives in New York and a sister who lives in Miami. I love seeing them, although my brother used to annoy me a lot when he lived here. He'd kick me out of the room when his friends came over. We used to go to Sinai for holidays. That was our relaxation. We'd go with our family and friends, but we don't go anymore. It's not safe. There's nowhere to go now that's safe. Everyone carries a cell phone here. I call Mom a lot just to say I'm okay. I'm here. If she doesn't hear from me in a while, she worries that something bad has happened to me. When a big terror attack happens, the phone system breaks down because everyone is trying to call everyone to make sure they're okay. I just went camping in the south of Israel with the scouts for 3 days to get a break from everything. We camped in the desert. My friends and I walked a lot. Everything was quiet. The sands were amazingly colorful. It was good to be quiet and away from pressures. The north of Israel is beautiful too. It's all green and has tons of water. It would be good for me to meet some Palestinians. Kids are the same everywhere. It's hard for me to think of them as being the same as me, though, because I have a friend in the army. He tells me scary things. A friend of his was killed protecting Jews in a settlement. For this war to end, everyone will have to give up a little. No one will win completely. It will have to end someday, but both sides will have to give up something. The world isn't perfect. We should have learned more from the Holocaust. The world, I mean. We didn't learn enough, or the world would be better than it is. My 3 wishes, I have just one. I want the war to end so I can keep living in Israel and raise my children here.